Well, let's hit it. We're going to go straight on to one of the biggest stories that's going into the news media right now, and we have to address it head on. We're going to continue to bring you information about this, and we're going to go in deeper a couple different times throughout the week, explaining our position as a church and as an organization on the connection now that is linked Patriot Front to On Fire Ministries. Those of you who know, Matt Shea is our senior pastor. I'm one of the worship pastors here. An article that came out by Luke Baumgartner. I don't know how to say his name correctly. You'd think
Luke Baumgarten.
Luke Baumgartner.
Garten.
It's
amazing. I'm helping you with the name.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm the one with the Swedish name. I should be able to say his name. I'm so sorry, Luke. I apologize. Okay.
But only for that.
They have here an image of, I would say loosely, one former member of our congregation. We have on the left an individual. They can't pronounce his name right. They call him Michael. All over the country, they've been calling him Mishael Buster. And they have Josiah Buster. These young men are the sons of a good friend of ours. And we're not gonna ever retract the fact that their father's still a great friend of ours. But Caleb, can you control your kids when they become adults?
No, that's the reality. We cannot judge the father for the sins of the sons, right? That's just not how it works. These two are men. They make their own decisions. And unfortunately, look, I pray for these guys. I do. I pray for the guys. I don't hate these guys.
No.
Not at all.
Okay? Are you talking about these young men?
These two young men. And anyone involved in this Patriot Front. I didn't stutter. I said that twice.
It is a front.
Intentionally. All right? I pray for these guys because the reality is there's a lot to be angry in this world today. And this group, who I believe is ran by a Fed, I believe this group is so infiltrated that they are using young men who have righteous anger. Okay, the anger is justified. Look around what they're doing to our country. That anger is justified. But they've been able to channel that anger in a negative ways. They've been able to use people in order to push an agenda that is giving conservatives a black eye. Look, we'll just lay it flat out on the table. If you're a racist, you can shut this show off right now. We don't want anything to do with that. Racism is an antiquated idea. We hate it. We loathe it. We believe as Christians that God created all of mankind in his image. And that doesn't matter what color you are. You are created in his image. Okay. You are a brother and a sister in Christ, no matter what color you look like. And so these individuals who oppose race, who come out as anti-Semitic, who take issue with black people, they are not a friend of this congregation.
They are not a friend of church and state. We do not support it. I'm saying this, Caleb, I just want to continue to launch off of that. The church side ministry, and especially the organization that is known as On Fire Ministries, we do not support. We have no connection. Read my lips. Look at me right now. We have zero connection to Patriot Front. What's interesting is our former church and connection was called
Covenant.
Well, Covenant Church, and it's changed its name
Patriot Church
to Patriot Church. And there is so much confusion. And we're going to address there is no connection whatsoever to Patriot Front. This individual who's actually in charge of it, you go back to the NDI. I want to highlight, we're going to keep talking about this young man named Thomas Rousseau. He literally looks like Wild Bill Cody. He grew up in suburban Dallas, and he actually started Patriot Front as a teenager. This is something that really you need to hear. I'm going to read this slowly. This is part of their manifesto. And this is how I am so easily able to say, we do not support this organization. And those of you who are patriots, you also don't. Because I know that most patriots, I'd say 99% of the patriot community, does not see color. We are not a racist group of people. But I will say clearly, I believe that Patriot Front is a racist organization. But I believe many of the young men who are wrapped up into it were looped, duped, and and sold a bill of goods by this young man who I believe to be a Fed. We'll talk about it more later, but this is from them. This is part of their manifesto. It says, our people born to this nation. That's already, you've already thrown out, because there's so many people. My grandfather was not born into this nation, Caleb.
Yeah.
My relatives beyond were not born into this nation. They naturally were immigrated into this country. So it says, our people born of this nation, of our European race. That's disgusting. Must reforge themselves. I thought we were, what? No, we got to reforge ourselves as a new collective capable of asserting our right to cultural independence. This is a white supremacy organization, and here's why. I believe that this is a complete setup individual. We'll go back into it deeper as the weeks go by, because we're going to probably end up getting more and more information about this Rousseau, but he is making out all these young men to be racist, and they may have some racist things, but here's the thing. This young man said in high school, I got to find the quote. He said, patriots are dumb enough to where I could start a fake patriot group and they would follow me.
Yeah, I read that as well, Gabe. And there's your sign right there. Look, is he a Fed? We don't know. Confidential informant being used by the Biden administration? Absolutely. Look, this is what you got to remember. What did Biden say about patriots, about Christians? That we were DVEs. It's one of Gabe's favorite words right now. Domestic violence extremists. Okay. We are the most dangerous threat to our democracy. This is Biden's own words. All right. So they use a situation like this. They knew, look, this Coeur d'Alene event, it made national news before it had ever begun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They knew that this was going to be a big deal.
Setup.
They sent these guys in to give us a black eye, and we want nothing to do with them. Look, I've already talked to my police contact in Spokane. When we have this event on the 18th, we're going to be specifically looking for Patriot Front. And if they show up, they are removed immediately. We don't want anything to do with these guys. It goes for Antifa as well. But this article, Gabe, that you talked about, they mentioned us. And hey, we appreciate the publicity. Thanks, guys. All right, but yeah, they talk about you, Gabe. They talk about how you're the co-host with myself as a podcast called Church and State. And we've dedicated several segments recently to antagonizing, let me see if I can get this right, the LGBTQIA2S+. What is that?
A lot.
What is that end part?
I'm done at LGBT.
I know what the LGBTQ is, but what's this IAS or 2S+?
I don't even know. Don't even.
Anyway, including a May 31st podcast entitled Pride Month is an Indicator that the Doomsday Clock is Ticking. You're right. And we don't back down from that. We will never back down from that because we see your satanic agenda. We know it for what it is. One of the things that happened at this event in Coeur d'Alene, there was a drag queen, a guy literally flashed his male anatomy to a bunch of children on stage dancing. Have you seen this video yet? We'll talk about it on the next show. Well, actually, there is a clip where they blur it out. And you can see how horrified. You can see how horrified the children are that they've been subjected to this. The police chief, to his credit, or the sheriff to his credit of Coeur d'Alene, or Kootenai County, I should say, is investigating.
Okay.
All right. But we see that agenda. We know it for what it is. It's satanic. You are targeting our children. And speaking of that,
I actually just also want to retract our statement. We posted this. You see here, this is a huge Antifa, stopped. Obviously, this shows to the level of what we knew. We had nothing to do with this U-Haul incident. We don't have any connection whatsoever as a church. You can pull that down now, Caleb. Or excuse me, Travis. There is no connection whatsoever to our church and Patriot Front. We posted that Antifa had been stopped. Us being there, me and Pastor Matt, we walked forward. We never actually saw the arrest, but as literally a minute and a half later after we walked by, these individuals were arrested behind us, we thought that God had actually spared us from some type of Antifa incident. We didn't know who these guys were. I'd never seen, in my life, a member of Patriot Front. So, yeah, this was nowhere on my or Matt Shea's radar. As we were there, there's, if you look down in this article, it has not the video, but it has a picture of Pastor Matt addressing that Antifa had been stopped. That's what we thought had happened.
Well, and here's the thing, Gabe. Let me jump in here because once again, I just said I talked to my police contact. Antifa was there.
Mm-hmm.
They were there, and in fact, there were a few that were arrested as well. So Antifa was there, but that truck was not Antifa. All right. But real quick, I want to talk about this because this